Hello, everybody. You're listening to The Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 346, Pinky Promises. Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Sam and Eddie. How you guys doing? Enjoy the afternoon NFL slate of last-minute wins and losses. Eddie, probably not so much.
No, I think pretty much all of them went against me. So I genuinely think every single one of them. I think it would be difficult for me to imagine a scenario where, to say decided on the final play in the case of the Niners, no, because the best case scenario there was probably overtime unless they were going to do what the Ravens did. But to be in with a chance in kind of every game, I think every NFL game is fundamentally decided on 3 or 4 plays most of the time, but these were very much decided on 3 or 4 plays right at the end, and not a single one of them went my way.
Well, I guess we can start then, though. What is the overall feeling over there in Niners Nation? Are we in give up mode? Are we in we're done? Let's think about next year already, or still?
No, I don't. I think they'll still make the playoffs just because their schedule is pretty easy. So I think they'll still make the playoffs, and they're helped obviously by other teams in the NFC who are kind of on the playoff bubble, like the Vikings, also losing. So I think they'll make the playoffs. Give up in the sense of, do I think the Niners could beat the Cardinals in a playoff game or the Packers in a playoff game? Probably not. Like, unless they produce their very best performance of the season and those teams were subpar on the day, which, can happen. But I think that, yes, they'll make the playoffs. They'll probably, as the standings currently are, right, they would play the Packers in the first round. That's a loss. I can't imagine this team going into Lambeau and winning. But they were missing players who can make a really big difference in that game. So come playoff time, if they are fully healthy, then like missing Deebo Samuel is a huge miss for them, because fundamentally their best wide receiver and their best running back. So you're losing 2 major weapons in one player. But it's just the Jimmy Garoppolo experience is, as I messaged you, it's so frustrating. He makes a few good throws, but then he makes so many dumb throws. There's frustrating turnovers. There's poor decision-making. Every time you feel like he'll put one really good drive together, and then you'll feel like there's a little bit of momentum coming, and then he'll follow it up with just a disastrous next drive. And
yeah,
and he got, his stats got padded by like Kittle making a play that you're not normally going to get. So he gets a huge touchdown reception that kind of pads his stats in terms of yardage and things. But I was also, I have to say, disappointed given the goal line situation at the very end of the game, how you don't bring Trey Lance in for at least one play just to mix that up and say, maybe we roll the quarterback out. Maybe we kind of have a designed run play with our quarterback here. I think that's sort of surprising given the circumstances that we're in at the end there.
Yeah, the takeaway I had from that game is Kittle is, I think, the best tight end in the NFL. It's crazy to me going into that game. You do the Bill Belichick mentality. Who's the one player on this team that can beat us? And with Deebo Samuel out and Garoppolo being an average QB and their run game being okay at best right now, you have to say, like, it's George Kittle. We stop Kittle, we're going to stop them. And he just continued to make play after play. What do you have, like 150 yards receiving?
It was crazy. I think he was close to 200 yards receiving. Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy. You just can't stop him. He's just so effective. It's impressive.
Yeah. And I will also say one thing, and not to, holding calls can be really subjective and ticky-tacky. I will say on that third down, on 3rd and goal, how that wasn't a holding call at the back of the end zone when the Seahawks DB just was all over the Niners player. That I don't give it in a game where, again, it's about consistency in those calls, right? In a game where they had been calling holding calls throughout, I'm fine with the let them play mentality, but you don't just let them play in the final 30 seconds of a game. you set the precedent early on and you stick to that, and to kind of be calling ticky-tacky holding calls for, almost the entire game, and then wait until the final 3 plays to say, no, we don't want to step in and be the thing that decides the game. Because, to people arguing, oh, officials shouldn't decide the game, not throwing a flag is also deciding the game. Like, it's not just by awarding a penalty that you decide the game. You also decide the game by not giving the penalty. Like, by allowing someone to commit an offense and get away with it, you as an official are also deciding the game. People always think of it as some like binary, oh, as long as the officials don't react, then they have had no influence. But if you don't throw the flag, if you don't give the foul in any sport, you are also influencing the outcome to just the same degree.
So Niners still make the playoffs according to you. So next 3 games, they've got the Bengals, the Falcons, the Titans. Like, it's not the easiest 3, but has the performance against the Seahawks changed any perception of it? Is it like a bit, obviously it's more rocky because of the loss, but they were on such a good streak at that point and they were looking really good. Like, is Jimmy G's kind of simple but often mistakes, the 2 interceptions, like, does that make it more of a problem against a team like the Bengals? Like, yeah, okay, they shit the bed against the Chargers, but they're still a top 10 scoring offense, right?
Who knows with the Bengals? I mean, who knows? Which version of the Bengals? The Bengals could beat the Niners by 40 points. The Bengals could lose to the Niners by 40 points. I don't know what's going to happen. I would say the Bengals are a better team than the Niners, but I wouldn't say, I'm definitely not going into that game thinking there's no way the Niners win. And so Bengals, I don't know. Falcons be really disappointed the Niners can't beat the Falcons, and the Titans in their current format, I would be very disappointed if the Niners can also beat them. So, I don't know. I think this season is so unpredictable that the teams, whenever they have a bye, they kind of automatically go up in your estimation, because just by not having a bad performance that weekend, they become a better team. Like, the Titans benefited,
but
by
I feel like a lot of the
teams. Weekend.
But I feel like a lot of the teams that we've said that for, they lose after their bye week. I feel like there's been more times than not this year we've said, like, they're coming off a bye, they're going to be fresh, and then they end up losing. It's happened a lot this year.
I think it just means the 100%. Fact that they're not playing imply that they literally they get a bye from like public
opinion. Like the Titans.
Yeah.
The Titans are suddenly, in my mind, a little bit better than they were last week, just because I didn't watch the Titans put in an awful performance. And, the Packers did nothing, obviously, but then in the Packers, in my mind, who are definitely a good team, but I kind of have seen a number of the other teams towards the top put in mediocre to bad performances, and to the Titans kind of climb that power rankings ladder by having done nothing. And I think that's just the league is so unpredictable that the best way to improve the public's image of you is to just not play.
It's also that weird reality, right? So going back to the 49ers game with the Seahawks, right? Seahawks are now 4-8. They've got a couple of divisional games in there which have been, I mean, look at AFC North, right? It's been crazy unpredictable the way divisional games go. Like, you got a 4-8 team, if they beat the easy games that they've got and then manage to do anything against the Cardinals or the Rams, they're in with an outside shot, right? Because the 2 people in the last spots are 6-6, Washington and the 49ers.
They've got no chance.
Seahawks?
I mean, they are so bad.
They're done.
Yeah, they got no chance.
Yeah, but then they go and do this, right? Which is infuriating for the 49ers.
Yeah, okay, but also it's one of those, and not to throw it out, they had a 76-yard fake punt to start the game off, and those are, whenever, I'm always worried whenever a team has a big special teams play or something, that automatically feels as if, it's going to be their day. Like, they're shifting momentum, things are working for them. You just get that instantly. To me, that was such a bad sign for how the game was going to go. And when you factor in, the Niners missed an extra point, they get a dumb safety that Jimmy G just shouldn't be allowing to happen. You get the fake punt. That's a 10-point swing on plays that they're not going to be able to rely on a weekly basis. And that's not, they were significantly better yesterday than they have been in recent weeks, but they have been awful. And they just own the Niners. I mean, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson own the Niners. They've won 16 of the last 20 matchups against the Niners. That's unbelievable in a period where the Niners have, in a number of those seasons, been pretty good. I mean, we're talking about incorporating a Super Bowl run in that window, and the Niners basically just can't beat them. But do we get on to I guess the really big talking point of the day, which was the Ravens' decision, having tied the game on virtually the last play of the game, or put themselves in a position to tie the game. They were down by 1, deciding to go for 2 to win it fundamentally, right? Because there was 12 seconds left. So basically you're winning the game on that play. I know the statistics. I know they say go for it. I know they say that's a better decision. I'm of the opinion it was the wrong decision, and that's not outcome based, but I think it was the wrong decision. But I'd be interested to know. I know you've got all the stats, Frank, but I'd be interested to know what you two think.
I think considering the AFC North at the moment, and considering they knew that the Bengals had lost, I just think that is such a close division right now, that any one of those teams can now, even, with hindsight, the Steelers win. Anyone can top that division right now. And I think the Ravens, in my opinion, should have played it completely safe. They didn't need to go for it. The Bengals had lost. They win a divisional game against the Steelers. They put more ground between them. The Browns look a bit done. I think that was an opportunity to beat them in overtime. And I actually think in a close division where you can either win it or go out very quickly, I think safer heads would have prevailed in that one. So I agree with you.
I mean, I know, Frank, you're going to probably explain all the percentages behind it. Before you do that, I think you've got Justin Tucker. So you're going to say the risk of missing the extra point is slim to none. So you're pretty much guaranteeing overtime. And then I think statistics are great, but you have to actually, before I give my opinion on the statistics, Frank, what did the odds say?
I couldn't find. I had read it this morning, but I can't re-find it. But the odds are definitely in favor of going for it for 2. But I agree with you that you can't just go sometimes based off statistics. But the reason I think it was the right call is you have to look at how that game was progressing. The Steelers weren't doing anything on offense in the first half. And then there was some more key injuries to the Ravens. I think they lost another one of their starting corners in the second half. And the Steelers had gotten hot. So the last 3 times the Steelers touched the ball, 4 plays, 80 yards, touchdown, 10 plays, 50 yards, field goal, 11 plays, 69 yards, touchdown. Those are the last 3 times the Steelers touched the ball. That's almost, all of their points minus the field goal they had in the first half. So they were definitely catching on fire. And I think the way that Harbaugh is kind of reasoning it here is our team is depleted by injuries. They're obviously hot right now. If they get the ball, there's a good chance that they just run down the field on our defense and score. I have 2 yards with the most dynamic QB
is there
in the NFL. I think we can get this.
Okay, so okay, let me respond to that. I don't know. I mean, saying they're hot right now. This is a Steelers
no. I mean, in the
offense
game, in this game, at that time
together.
Point, 3 drives of over 50 yards right in a row.
Sure, great, but if you want to play the statistics, you also have to play the statistics on your opposition, which would be statistically over the course of the season, which is a pretty decent sample size with the Steelers team, regardless of who they're playing, have not consistently been able to put together 4 scoring drives and 4 50-plus yard drives. So if you want to play the statistics, you'd almost say, well, statistically, they're due to have a 3-and-out or a turnover. I mean, Roethlisberger hadn't thrown an interception. He throws an interception every game. Statistically, that would have been a likely outcome then. I think you look at the overall context of the game, which is okay, towards the end they were moving the ball, but fundamentally the Steelers weren't moving the ball easily over the course of the entire game. So I think even if you lose I almost think if you're the Ravens, I think you want to I would almost kick the ball off to the Steelers, even if you win
That's
the toss.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Because if I were the Ravens,
well, giving the ball to a 39-year-old.
Why? I'd feel like
the Steelers' defense was better. It was the defense that did it, right? Jackson was sacked 7 times. They really prevented Jackson playing his game. So I know, but what I mean is like you would rather the offense and then have the chance after they've had the ball. It's kind of I agreeing with you ultimately.
Well, I just think you assess, like, do I want to kick the ball off to the Chiefs ever in overtime? Absolutely not. Or the Packers? No. But sometimes I think teams assume, oh, we get the ball first, and then we get to go down the field and score a touchdown. And it's like, well, how likely are you to go 80 yards? The more likely outcome is you either punt, which means that they are in a situation where they can kick a field goal to win, and they might have pretty decent field position, or you're in a situation where you've kicked a field goal and now all they need to do is kick a field goal to extend the game or a touchdown to win it, and you've also put them in a situation where they are constantly in four down situations on all of their until they're in field goal range. And I think it's often overlooked. I know the statistics will say getting the ball first, better chance of winning, but I think sometimes I would be very tempted to kick the ball off to the other team, back your defense, and say, we're either going to hold them to a field goal, in which case we're in four down territory the whole way down the field pretty much. And we have Justin Tucker, who is pretty much automatic from inside 60 yards. So, I mean, you get the ball as the Ravens only needing 3 points. You probably only need 30 yards. It's a pretty good situation.
You know what else is a pretty good situation?
And
just needing 2 yards to win a game. I mean, yeah.
Turns out no. Turns out, I mean, and here's the thing is they called a pretty good play. The play design was really good. A slightly better throw, or he had a chance at catching it. It wasn't easy, but a slightly better catch, and they score. But I'll also counter it. You're saying, oh, you've got one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the game, so then use him as a dynamic quarterback. Oh, we've got a most dynamic quarterback in the game from 2 yards out, so we're going to just have him stay in the pocket and try and, okay, the threat of the run changes how their defense plays, but we're fundamentally going to use him as a traditional quarterback in that moment. If they had decided to roll Lamar Jackson out and do something with his feet, then I would have said, fine,
well, I think
you're using your biggest weapon. And
I agree with you, but I think it was kind of an RPO where he had the option to hand it off, run it, or pass it to Andrews based off of what was happening. And
it's Lamar Jackson. Everything's an RPO.
Yeah, I know, but so
I think that's such a get out of jail.
But he clearly had the option of running. But the DN comes in at him.
He always has the option.
The DN comes to him, so he has the open man to throw it to. I think that's the whole point. Like, they did use his legs to their advantage because they had the guy.
But they didn't.
They did, because the guy who was supposed to cover Andrews,
I don't buy that.
Went after Lamar Jackson.
But it was also
because he thought he was going to run.
But it was TJ Watt that came off the edge to get him, right? So, I mean, TJ Watt was kind of like the hero of the night in a way for the Steelers, but it kind of showed that they didn't roll him off in that respect.
I'm not sure I understand that they're rolling off.
But to me, if you have a player who the most dangerous thing on your offense is Lamar Jackson running with the ball, not a threat to run, not has the option of running. The most dangerous thing on your offense, have it a designed run. Have it so that he gets outside the pocket and has the chance of better. Because what he's going to do, he's going to just run up the middle on a Steelers defense that have been sacking him all day. That's your RPO. Is that, oh, if the edge rusher doesn't bite, then he gets to try and just turn himself into a full.
I think he would probably go off tackle there, probably, yeah.
Turns himself into a fullback in a goal line situation. I mean, great. Another great use of this dynamic running option. Like, to me, get him out of the. I don't. You and I say this almost every time we see either Mahomes or whoever it is in goal line situations. Roll the quarterback out to the right. He either has the option then of just keeping going towards the pylon, or he hits a player running in front of him, 5 yards in front of him for an easy touchdown. It almost never fails. It almost never gets called.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most disappointing part about this is now the Steelers are 6-5, and they should not be 6-5. That when I saw them not get this 2-point conversion, I wasn't mad that they went for 2. I was just mad that the Steelers won another game that they probably should not have won.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to.
But using the Eddie logic, once they make the playoffs, it's an easy bet against them.
I think so. But then I also worry that if they do get healthy, their defense is pretty good. So, I mean, it depends who they play in the playoffs. There are teams in
Wait, what needs to get healthy? Is Big Ben gonna
No,
DH
their
15
defense.
years?
Their defense has shown itself over the course of this
Yeah,
year.
but their offense is. I think their defense is okay.
No, I think
I don't trust Big
their
Ben
defense is good
at all.
to verging on elite if everyone's healthy. So, I mean, in a playoff game, it's the same old. You know, it sounds cliche to say, but if you're suddenly in a playoff situation where the weather's not great, I'm happy having a really, really good defense and an experienced quarterback who's going to live off dump offs and a good running game. I mean, Harris is an elite running back. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I will be betting against them in the first round of the playoffs if they make it. But I mean, it depends. I mean, they could play someone really bad.
I mean, that is an argument I think that perhaps Baltimore shouldn't have done that, is because if they get the tie and not the loss, then they're 2 games ahead of them instead of a game and a half. That kind of puts the Steelers out of the picture.
You can win this division and be bottom of this division very easily within 1 or 2 games. So knowing that, the Ravens should have played it safe and tried it in overtime. And you look at the Steelers running, right? They've got the Vikings, Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Ravens. So they got A, more divisional opportunities, but B, the rest of them don't look easy. So I don't think they're going to be there just based on that running. But you know what? The Steelers team seems to come up and beat the teams we don't expect them to and fail miserably against the teams we do. Like the Lions, they got pumped by the Bengals. But then, lo and behold, they go and beat the Ravens. So, I mean...
Well, tell me why you don't think... So the Vikings, who just lost to the Lions... I mean, that's going to be that's Thursday night football this week.
Vikings are an inconsistent team as well, right? So they could turn up.
Right, but I think either team could win that. I'd expect them to beat the Titans. So Chiefs. There's possibly 2 wins right there. Chiefs, I'm expecting them to lose. Browns who knows?
Is an interesting one, right? Exactly. Who knows? And then obviously last game is the Ravens again. Again, who knows? So,
and maybe the Ravens have nothing to play for. So maybe you're playing against everyone benched on the Ravens because they're just locked into their playoff position, and the Steelers have an easy win in Week 18.
Speaking of Washington and the NFC East, you've now got You've got the Cowboys. An 8-5 or 8-4? I can't remember the bye that they had, but. Yeah, and then you've got Washington on 6-6, and you've got the Eagles on 5-8. Like, is there a hypothetical reality that the NFC sends 3 teams to the playoffs?
A hypothetical reality? I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay,
yes, there's a hypothetical reality.
Okay, is there a reality where the NFC East sends 3 teams to the playoffs?
No, it's not happening. I mean, it's just not happening, and
no. I think there's a reality.
There's a higher reality
that
than 0. That somehow they just go get kicked out of the NFL. I think that's much more likely. But, I mean, I know you're going to call it an extended Washington purple patch at this point. I don't know how it's going to get classified. Washington are not good. They are not good. I mean, their games are awful to watch. Having watched their entire game against the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, I mean, they've won consecutive games, 17-15. The scoreagami people must be losing their minds. I don't know what the odds are on those being back-to-back. That must be the first time in NFL history a team's won back-to-back games, 17-15.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Now, I completely agree with you, but I'll play devil's advocate in the sense that last year, I think we said the exact same thing of how they were an awful team and they somehow still made it to the playoffs and gave the Bucs a run for their money in that playoff game. So, I think they are a terrible team. I do not think they are anywhere near a competitive playoff team. But could they still sneak into the playoffs somehow with just these shitty wins that no one wants to watch and see? Maybe. I mean, you have to continue to hear about Heineke.
Well, yeah.
They're 60, but they're playing the Cowboys next, then again, so chalk up a loss. And they've
got 5 divisional games to end their season. So they've got Cowboys, Eagles, Giants. So
they might win 2 out of those games.
They'll beat the Giants.
2 is a realistic number.
They'll beat the Eagles once. They'll beat the Cowboys once. So I think they go 3. I mean,
No, they're not going to beat the Cowboys. I would be very shocked if they beat the Cowboys. And I don't think the Eagles are. The Eagles have a bye week coming up. I think the interesting thing is going to be once they come off of their bye week, they're obviously going to go back to Hurts. But how quickly is the Hurts leash, or how short, I should say, is the Hurts leash? That if he starts to have a bad game, they go back to Minshew mania.
Can we address this Minshew mania?
And will it
I've
matter?
never seen a more average quarterback performance be treated as if he threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't. And then he did nothing.
He was 10 for 10. He was on fire. Minshew mania.
I mean,
didn't need to. His team was so good. He didn't even
playing,
need to.
A, against a really bad team, and B, he played well for, I guess, a quarter and then managed the game the rest of the way. I genuinely don't understand. I think, look, he is not a bad quarterback. He deserves to be a backup in the NFL. That's his standard. I think I would trust him, and I think there's teams out there where he is a very good fit. Like, I kind of don't know, for example, how the Browns, he seems like such a natural stand-in for Baker Mayfield in terms of style of play and what they offer. And maybe that's just me being a little bit doing him an injustice because they're two undersized white quarterbacks, and maybe that's throwing them in together even though they're kind of different things, but they've got big egos, big characters, and if I were the Browns, I would just think we have Minshew as a backup, and if Baker's missing, we wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. But apart from the awful...
You're such a Minshew hater.
I'm not, though. I think saying...
20 for 25, 240, 2 touchdowns, almost an 80 QBR. Guy's a machine.
Okay, give me Ben.
Guy's a machine.
Give me Ben Roethlisberger's stats against the Ravens.
20 for 31, 230, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 64.
I mean, it's not a huge difference there.
Hey, really and Big not. Ben, he's a Hall of Famer. So there you go.
Well, yeah.
Minshew's a Hall of Famer then.
If he manages to win the Super Bowl between now and the end of his career, and yeah, sure. But you see what I mean? No one's raving about Roethlisberger's performance. I mean, I think a lot of people have said that's a better version of Roethlisberger than we've maybe seen so far this season. But no one is raving about what he did against the Ravens. He did it against a much better team in much more difficult conditions, and in a game where he couldn't afford to make any mistakes at any point down the stretch. That was a much more impressive performance than anything Gardner Minshew did. And yet we've got Minshew mania going on. I don't get it. We should have Russell Wilson mania happening again as well by that logic.
Yeah, just hate the quirkiness, Eddie. That's I think that's the issue. You're anti-quirky.
Can I also, one thing we didn't touch on, can I just also give the Seahawks credit for having 2 of the worst goal line turnovers I have ever seen. The situations in which they managed, one somehow managing to fall over and turn a touchdown into an interception was spectacular. I wish that had been a meaningful moment in the game. And then also giving the Niners another, I mean, that's the kind of storyline that kind of got lost in that game. They could have just kicked the field goal and pretty much made it game over. Instead, kept going for it and end up turning the ball over, right? Half a yard out. You got to admire that ability to keep a game interesting.
So I guess any other takeaways from the NFL? The only other thing I thought was interesting was I watched the Chiefs last night, and they won, but they still don't look good. Anyone who watched that game will definitely say that the Chiefs' issues are not solved. And a lot of it, I hate to say it, a lot of it is Mahomes. He's missing a lot of targets. Some were unfair. I mean, the one interception Tyreek Hill should have caught. He also had a blatant drop about 4 plays before that. That's not helping his situation. But Mahomes looked downright bad on some throws. There were some, even Collinsworth questioned. He has that quirky sidearm throw he likes to do, and he missed a throw on it, and Collinsworth was like, why is he even throwing that? There's no one in front of him. He doesn't need to do this sidearm stuff. It's just him. Maybe it's not him trying to be cocky or showy, but they got to get back to some of the fundamentals that make them good and just make normal plays. Not everything has to be a trick crazy play from a circus. It's starting to cost them now, and they do not look good going. Like if playoffs were to start next week, I would not be super confident in them.
I wouldn't be confident in them, but at the same time, every team has such major weaknesses that, honestly, gun to my head, I'm picking the Chiefs right now to win the Super Bowl. It's the Chiefs or the Packers for me right now as the two teams that I mean, I think I'd have to make the Packers favorite because I do trust Aaron Rodgers, but just the Packers have a history in recent seasons of making it to the playoffs looking all right and then throwing in a horrific performance in the first round or second round of the playoffs. But they don't look great, but they don't look any worse than almost any of the good teams out there to me.
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know. The season's crazy. The season's wacky. I don't even know who to look at anymore. But I mean, they've turned a corner defensively, right? And I think that's probably the more important part. I think I saw a stat where they've got 11 takeaways in the last 6, and in the opening 5 games, they only got 4. And they're clearly turning up more when they played Dallas, and they Prescott was kind of heavily reduced. Didn't even score a touchdown, which was like the first time. I can't remember the stat we said. First time in his career or something like that. That he hasn't scored a touchdown in a game. So I think they've turned a corner defensively, and in a crazy season like this, I'm starting to think that matters more. Like, look at the Steelers win as well. I'm starting to think that the defense kind of matters more at the moment compared to like the big scoring teams like the Bengals, who once every other week they're going to lose pretty.
So, in other sports, what caught your eye this?
I think we have to talk about the NCAA football. I mean, that was a pretty good weekend. It really bothered me because before any of those games started, I was on a hike, and I always listen to podcasts when I hike, but I didn't have any podcasts, so I threw on my favorite Sirius ESPN radio app and was listening, and kind of the commentary was, there's always going to be upsets and craziness, in the last week of the NCAA. It just always happens. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if I see it this week. I really don't see it. And then, you have Alabama just coming out and destroying Georgia. You had Oklahoma State just blowing it against Baylor and could have potentially put themselves in the talk. So it didn't follow form, which is interesting. But the talking point there has to be, Alabama and Georgia having this supposedly elite defense, whether that is justified or not.
been labeled elite on the Big Chill podcast.
Elite. Did not look elite.
Oh, no, it didn't look decent. I mean, they didn't look like they could get a stop to save their lives until there was a moment where it started to feel like they were maybe shifting, and there was a little bit of a shift in momentum where they kind of started to lock Alabama down a bit and kind of get back into it. But then as soon as their defense kind of clicked into gear, their offense fell out a window. So they were never able to put 4 or 5 drives together, but barring the very start of the game. Because, I mean, also have to factor in, they were winning 10-0. At 10-0, it looked like, oh, this is exactly what we thought it was going to be, which is they're going to be able to get pressure on Alabama whenever they want to. And then at the same time, their offense is going to score on pretty much every possession. So,
yeah. And so then after those games, obviously the Final Four were released, and now you have Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Georgia 3, and Cincinnati 4, which I think is a fair ranking. The question of being whether Georgia should have dropped to 4, and that the committee didn't want
it's such
Alabama
an obvious
and
fix,
Georgia
though,
to
right?
play again.
They didn't want Alabama, Georgia. Yeah. They want that. They want that as the final.
Who knows if it'll be the final?
That's the thing, right?
Michigan has looked pretty good recently. They absolutely demolished Iowa, which I am not an Iowa fan. I do not think they're very good, but they put a beat down on Iowa. I mean, that was like they were playing a Division II team. So Michigan I think they're for real. And I think Cincinnati can give Alabama a game. I don't think they'll win, but people are forgetting Cincinnati, I think, has won the last 19 out of their last 20 games, and their only loss is to Georgia in whatever bowl game that was, Sugar Bowl maybe, and they were up 10 points going into the fourth quarter of that game. So it's not as if they got blown out by the only good team.
I'm saying now Georgia's winning the national title. I know how my seasons go more than anything else, and I know that having put in that very disappointing performance against Alabama on Saturday, I fully expect to be watching Georgia Alabama on a Monday night in January and see Georgia just absolutely destroy Alabama. I'm sure it's going to happen. I'll say it now. Put it down as the first Big Chill prediction for 2022. Georgia -10 against Alabama in the national championship.
Wait, you're saying
you
they'll
predicting,
win by 10?
Are you predicting
the
line or the outcome?
No,
because the line should be
Alabama. Alabama will be favorites, I would imagine, unless something weird happens in the semifinal,
or they don't make it.
Because maybe. Well, yeah, obviously.
I don't think they're going to get a 10 line.
Favorites. But, and I still say, I commented to you, there must be, if you're an Ohio State player, you must have been watching those games this weekend and thinking to yourself, how did we blow this? Like, we're definitely one of the 4 best teams in our best version of ourselves, one of the 4 best teams in the country. And for us to just be completely out of the picture as we watch teams put in mediocre performances must have been really disappointing.
Well, a lot of that will depend on how Michigan plays as well. If Michigan comes out and wins and beats Georgia, then I think Ohio State has an argument that, look, we're a good team. We lost a tough game away in the big house to one of the 2 best. But if Michigan gets blown out, then I don't think they have much of a case. You have to win your games, right? But how disappointing for this committee would a Michigan-Cincinnati final be over the Alabama-Georgia?
Well, I don't know if it's disappointing for the committee. I think it's disappointing for ESPN or whoever's showing that game. I think that's who really would be disappointed.
I think I would prefer
for the committee to. I wouldn't.
I'm so tired of Alabama and Georgia. I'm just so tired of them.
But I mean, you can't really be that tired of Georgia. You must be tired of Alabama.
Yeah, but Georgia's always in it too.
But I mean, Alabama. Just the thing is, they just prove.
I know
that they're just they may as well just. I mean, to be honest with you, may as well not play Alabama games and then just put them in the.
Get like a bye. Just get an immediate
they bye. To
get
a
bye where they just play 2 games. Like a few games.
But they just prove, you know what I mean? Like, you can count them out. You can say, "Oh, look at their problems. Like they can't block to save their lives, or they're totally outmatched in these positions." And then push comes to shove in a big game, they produce, and the other teams often don't. So, I mean, it's said going into that game, right? It was the first time in 72 games they'd been an underdog. How many games do you think it is before they're an underdog again? It's going to be at least like 10 or 12, right? Because they're obviously going to be favorites in
at least another year
in their next game.
And
I'd say they're favorites. They're favorites for the remainder of the playoffs
and next year, because you have Bryce Young,
and then next
back.
year they're favorites for every regular season game. So it's a long time until
it's for me. It's a bit weird with college football, right? How Georgia have been absolutely slamming every single team that they've played. Most of them haven't even scored like over 10 points. And then they play a single game and suddenly everything's shot in terms of like defense looks bad. And it's, looking at the NFL where it's like a team can be 6-6 and still get to the playoffs, right? But in college football, it's literally like one game and suddenly you're a terrible team.
Well, it's just a disparity in, most of the time these teams are playing, you're talking about teams that will have a handful to a lot of future NFL players on their roster versus teams that will have no future NFL players most weeks. So it's just it's a very big difference when they're playing, week in, week out, the opposition that they're playing. And then they come up against teams, this Georgia defenses look great. doesn't look so great when it's up against a quarterback who's going to play in the NFL and probably 3 wide receivers who will play in the NFL and a running back who will play in the NFL and a couple of offensive linemen who will play in the NFL. And suddenly, it turns out that defense could get sacks against me. Maybe they can't get sacks.
I mean, how do
sacks
you?
in the NFL?
Maybe you don't, but how do you change it? Because it must be thoroughly demoralizing for these colleges to literally be pointless, right? It's completely pointless for them to play these games.
No, I hate being dismissive like that. I hate because I mean, as someone who supports a lower league team in the footballing pyramid, right? It'd be like saying it's pointless when
Well, no, because
you have an FA Cup
because
tie,
money
when
and
City
things like
play.
that can change it, right? You've got like Man City, Bournemouth as examples. Yeah, money can change it,
Oh,
right?
really?
Man City were playing Torquay at one point, a couple of promotions. Yeah, but
they
it's
were
still
Man
the
City.
point that they weren't a good team at one point. Blackpool.
No, but let me know when Torquay. Let me know when Torquay are playing the
At one
Champions League,
point,
and I'll say money can
Torquay
change
were
it. But you
looking
can't
at
use
playoffs to the championship. There was one point, that can change things.
right.
Yeah, but
One point.
it's the point that in football,
Yeah.
in the pyramid of football, any division in football, is that money or investment or a bit of luck can change it. Is there ever a scenario in college football where luck has meant
100%.
that a
100%.
team has done so incredibly well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think in a single season, no, because the problem you're always going to have with the way the playoff committee works is if with a single season body of work, there's going to be skepticism that's probably going to prevent you from being in the top 4. But the idea that you could turn a program around by having a good head coach, getting a couple of good recruiting classes, maybe more through luck than skill, but also just having a good approach to recruiting. I mean, in the last 20 years, you've seen teams become powerhouses in college football, then fall away or not be relevant and then become powerhouses. So I think you'd argue that there's probably more turnover in college football than there certainly is in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, look at Cincinnati, are a great example. I mean, they were a low-level college football team, and then Luke Fickell came. His first year, he was 4-8, and then after that, he went 11-2. Then I think it was 11-1, and now 11-0. I mean, he literally has changed his program from being a program that probably had 20% attendance to now sold out every game and in the national championship as a non-Power 5 school in 4 years. So you do
so
get
they
that.
don't play the other big teams in that. Did they? So my argument is, did
No,
Cincinnati?
They're not even in a big conference.
Did they need to do much to change that around?
Yes, a ton. I mean, well, one, to change the team around to being an undefeated team, yes, and then 2, to be respected enough to make the college football playoff, for sure. That's an enormous turnaround. They're the only non-Power 5 to ever make it in the playoff so far, and there have been other teams that have been undefeated or close to undefeated and not gotten the respect.
I mean, the other thing that kind of caught the eye, right, was the Formula One, I guess. So, Eddie Frank, did you see the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? Kind of reminded me of I guess the older days, the classic tussles that would go down to the wire, whether it's like Hill Schumacher or when Villeneuve was there. And it was kind of very interesting to have the dynamic of the back and forth, and it would always go to like the final season decider. Don't feel like it's happened over the past decade with kind of Hamilton's dominance, but I mean, this certainly is, arguably the most exciting race of the season, and it's going down to the final race of the season. But did you watch it?
I watched all of it. It took forever. I missed some of the NFL just because with the red flag, obviously, with the safety cars, virtual safety cars, all of it took, 3 restarts, I think it was. It took forever. So that was the only frustrating aspect of it. But yeah, action packed. I put myself obviously in a category where I don't have a strong interest in Formula One, but when you have, like any sport, I can get pretty interested when you have 2 people who clearly don't like each other, who are very open about that. It's a little bit like when we were talking about the Koepka Deschambeau. Like, it's good for a sport to have, pre-race and post-race, these 2 guys publicly disagreeing with each other, kind of being politely critical of each other. They're not saying anything awful, but throwing jabs at each other in terms of whether or not what they're doing is right, and the styles are different. And it was exciting. I mean, lots of drama. I like that both of them think there's kind of conspiracy theories up against them. Whenever any decision is taken against against one of them, they assume it's because the authorities hate them and want the other person to win. And then 10 minutes later, something else happens, and it's because the authorities hate that guy and want him to win. I like being able to listen to them kind of bitch through their team radios at times. And yeah, I mean, to go into the final race of the season level on points, obviously Verstappen has the slight advantage because he's won more races. So if it ends if they stay level on points, he wins. Obviously, the only way they will stay level on points is if, yeah. I mean, and this is the thing that surprises me a little bit. I know that it's very dangerous, easy to say this.
Why doesn't Verstappen just
Why doesn't he just torpedo Hamilton?
I mean, why not? I mean, you get penalized, right? Massively, but who cares? You win on points, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you must be good enough to, at some moment in time, take a risk and just go. I mean, the risk you run is that, and look, you also have a team, right? So you have two opportunities to take Hamilton out. Maybe first time up, you don't use Verstappen.
I just love the idea
of
having
two chances.
Just
maybe
like absolutely careening into the edges. But no, you're right about the fact that, like Christian Horner comes out and he's like, there's a conspiracy against Red Bull and everything goes Mercedes' way. And there's this kind of public opinion perception, I guess, that Hamilton is like a much better driver, or not safer driver, but Verstappen's obviously like plays loose and hard with the kind of concept of acceptable rules and overtaking. It's a really cool soap opera sort of dynamic. Both constructors dislike each other and believe it's against them, but simultaneously both flagship primary drivers have a real rivalry and a different style to the way they race as well. And it does make for a really interesting watch. And to be honest, it's probably the first time I've genuinely been interested in Formula One for a while, right? Because,
Also, you got two different cars, right? With two different strengths in each of the cars, and I know that probably we've got people listening who are very knowledgeable about Formula One, who like it, who probably hate this idea of two people who don't know that much kind of trying to explain it. But obviously, you got the Red Bull car, which seems to excel in terms of around corners and in sectors where there's not long straights, and the Mercedes, which is just much, much faster on straights. So you kind of have a sector where Red Bull will perform well, but then overall, depending on the course layout, it's probably advantage Mercedes most times. I like that Red Bull were kind of shitting on Mercedes post-race, basically saying, yeah, Hamilton's winning because of an engine, whereas Verstappen's keeping himself in the race by being a better driver. I think just everything about it is very. I can get involved in any sport where you got two people really going head to head with each other and not liking each other. It's good for the sport.
So you got Hamilton at 1-2 to win in Abu Dhabi, and Verstappen at 15-8. And it's interesting how they almost take 100% of the book, right? They've literally given like a small percentage point to every other driver. Because obviously it would be 1-2, 2-1, 100% book. But Mercedes have won the constructors, right? Because they've picked up more points through the season. But you're right. And it's also that dynamic has also transferred over to the fans, right? Like how partisan the crowd was for the Dutch Grand Prix and that kind of thing. So it's been interesting to see people kind of galvanized for the success in this F1, and I think it's the most exciting it's been for a while for sure. But I'd probably take that as one of the other Premier League.
I also don't know who I don't know who I believe at times. Like obviously there was the big dramatic moment when Hamilton clipped Verstappen when Verstappen was instructed to give the place back and was then slowing down. Hamilton thinks that he was brake checking him. So slowing down, accelerating. But then Hamilton also slowed down, seemed to have sufficient space to overtake him, but clipped him. And then basically the theory coming out of it is that they were both playing a game because the zone for measuring DRS was coming up. And so had you been in the lead within a gap of, but the person behind you is within a second, they then get DRS on the following straight. And basically that's guaranteeing that they will overtake when they're that close, pretty much. because I think it's an extra 20 miles an hour. I think it works out to. And they kind of, each one is accusing the other of trying to game the system so that they get that DRS advantage. And I don't know which one I could believe. It seemed to me like they were both probably playing the same game. And in the end, I mean, it's impressive because when Hamilton clipped him, I assumed it was race over, that there was no way he was going to be able to catch him. But
yeah, exciting.
I think, yeah, it'd be the first time in a long time.
Like, I know that there's a couple of people that listen to this podcast that have always said to me, and friends that are kind of within the industry even, that Hamilton is like the much more acceptable driver in terms of like what he does is not as outlandish as Verstappen. So Verstappen should be punished more for when it goes wrong. But I also think sometimes that I live in the UK, right? I think the media and the attention is inherently going to be biased for Hamilton, and they're going to see it that way. So I'm never sure. But like you say, exciting. It's good to see. I look forward to the race, actually.
Now, to continue a little bit more of a British theme, I guess, we've got the Ashes starting. I guess basically when this podcast comes out, it may have already begun or just about, the first test just about to get underway. So for people unfamiliar with the world of cricket, the Ashes is a biannual. I mean, I know when you say biannual, whether that means
twice a year or once every 2 years.
Once every 2 years.
Four annually.
Yeah. Competition between Australia and England, in which they are competing for a very, very small urn that contains ashes, hence the name, the Ashes.
We've seen them.
The ashes not of a human being.
Well, we've seen the urn.
Yeah, we have seen
tiny.
ashes not of a human being.
Yeah, they're not human remains.
And they alternate then between being hosted in Australia or being hosted in England. This time around, it's in Australia, which is why it's being played in Northern Hemisphere winter, Southern Hemisphere summer. Starting this week. I mean, I think Australia are. When I say I would put them as overwhelming favorites, I don't think they are from a betting perspective. I mean, they're favorites, but they're not overwhelming favorites. They come into it with a little bit of drama, as their captain, Tim Payne, had to resign from the captaincy based on a sexting scandal that came out, which is a story that I honestly cannot wrap my head around. I have to say, not that the sexting scandal should be where we focus our discussion, but here's what I don't get about his particular sexting scandal. The sexting scandal had previously come out like 4 years ago or whatever had occurred when he was captain of Tasmania. And this was with someone who worked for, I think she was a physio or someone within the Tasmania cricket setup who he had sent. Also, I mean, the texts that he sent are just embarrassing. If you're going to get caught sexting, these were just not the messages you want to be sent.
Eddie, are we trying to break the record for saying sexting on a podcast?
Yes. Yeah.
We're probably competing with Who's Your Daddy, or whatever that one is. They probably still got us by Call Me Daddy. Who's Your Daddy is the Joe Buck, isn't it? No, that's Daddy Issues.
I think
that's Daddy Issues is Joe Buck.
Tim Payne's your daddy. Tim Payne.
Yeah. Or is it even Call Her Daddy? Is it Call Me Daddy or Call Her Daddy?
I think it's Call Her
one.
Daddy.
Anyway,
but yes, they probably are out sexing us, and
they've probably done an Ashes preview for the first time ever. But the thing I don't get about it is, so this scandal goes public. He is sanctioned at the time by the Tasmania Cricket Board. It kind of doesn't go massively public because he wasn't a very high profile cricketer. He was just breaking through into the Australia setup at the time this happened, so people didn't really care. It's then resurfaced a couple of weeks ago, and as a result of the shame, he said he was already going to retire from international cricket after these Ashes, but he decided to step down from being captain of the Australian cricket team. I understand him stepping down. What I don't understand, and maybe there are details that have come out that haven't really gone public, but that have kind of emerged because of this coming back out. His wife was already aware of it. You would have thought they'd processed it over the last 4 years. They've obviously decided to stay together. It's very weird. He's then stepped away from the game entirely for mental health reasons. We've discussed these kind of topics in the past, and I hate to do this, but to be an absolute skeptic in this instance, this felt like the best play for getting public sympathy and kind of taking all of the pressure off of him. Was he suddenly stepped away from the game indefinitely for mental health reasons? Felt like a good way of getting people to stop writing embarrassing articles about him sexting with someone.
Without you reading the sexting text, how salacious were these sexting messages?
They're not that salacious. That's the thing, and that's what actually makes it kind of embarrassing. So she sends him, and this is not going to be verbatim. She basically sends him a message congratulating him, I think, on his Australia call up,
And then he Brett Favre croc picks her.
Pretty much.
Oh
he basically
God.
Instantly goes.
Oh my God.
I mean, clearly the difference. Clearly, there was a history between the two of them. I think they had already probably done more than just sexted. I think is part of this. But basically, he then starts complimenting her. She says she's got to go. He's like, well, I've got to touch myself. Like, it's just like he's getting so excited from a conversation that just seems so basic that, like, basically a woman complimenting him and then him just being like, oh my God, I am so hard right now.
Yeah, wasn't it? Didn't he use like the most awful like cricket lingo where he's like, I need to give something firm a pull?
Yes.
It's just like, I think that was the line. And
I'm about to take a wicket.
And she doesn't seem... She doesn't seem at all interested.
Sounds like he's taking a shit.
Hold on, I got
a massive wicket.
Oh, I've just gone boundary.
But yeah, I do remember that kind of funny line with Tim Payne when obviously all the COVID stuff was going on and England were talking about potentially not going because of the long series, the World Cup, being in the West Indies after this. And Tim Payne obviously said, like, whether England are there or not, we're turning up, obviously forgetting to realize that he won't be a part of that.
So just to read the kind of key moment in the text. So she says something that she can be a bad girl. This is the kind of the way it gets started. He then says, I like good girl, but this other one sounds interesting. She says, when I'm good, I'm good. When I'm bad, I am brilliant. He said, brilliantly bad? She says, I will think naughty thoughts about you while we watch the TV. He says, I'm cracking, haha. Naughty thoughts like what? I'm about to give something firm a pull. And she says, I'm sorry, getting ready. I'm getting ready for work. It's a big day for us kids. And then he follows that up with, well, you want to taste my... And it's
sticky
blurred,
wicket.
I'm assuming it's some variation of dick. And then, fuck me, I'm serious. I'm
wicket.
Fucking
wicket.
seriously hard. And then she says, I thought we were resting hands. And he says, can't rest them when I'm this hard. Need to ease the tension. Finish me off with those lips then.
Oh my God.
It's such a...
That escalated quickly.
And she is not engaging in any of it.
God, Brick killed the man.
I love the idea of responding to, like, it's a big day for us kids. And then he's like, yeah, talk to me about that. Like, if anyone brings the word kids into a conversation, you should just stop. You just need to abandon what's going on.
It almost feels like someone's been playing like Mad Libs, you know, and they're just sending his responses back where he's had to fill in the blank on words. But I don't know. It's not a great look. If you're going to have, not good to have any scandal come out, but you at least kind of want to look good. It's like the Brett Favre thing. You don't want a scandal to come out and you look like a loser in the process. So not only are you a scumbag, but you'll look like a dork. The scumbag is obviously much, much worse than the dorkier side. But again, it hurts him here where it's like, oh, not only were you a scumbag, but what you were doing, you didn't even do in a cool fashion.
Yeah, I mean, the Tim Payne thing has obviously taken a bit of focus away from what is an obviously better test side in Australia, but I think obviously it's thrown it into a little bit of doubt, the kind of the Australian team, and obviously England got buoyed by the fact that Stokes returned. So naturally, if Stokes wasn't playing, this would be a complete whitewash. But it just gives England that slight sense of kind of heroics and the kind of miraculous century, etc. But the thing is, you look at the schedule, and the thing is, they always play at the Gabba first, right? And it's notoriously a hard place for England to do. It doesn't play to any of England's strengths ultimately. So I think if England are going to do anything in this Ashes, they have to start really well. Usually, the way they start well is by drawing at the Gabba. You obviously got the memory of I can't remember how many Alistair Cook scored, but it was kind of when they got 517 for one or whatever it was. I think it was at the Gabba, which was pretty insane. But I think if England are going to come anywhere being competitive in this, they have to start well in Brisbane. And I'm not sure. I just think Australia will probably win this one, maybe like 3-0 or something like that. I can't really see England winning.
No, I don't think they.
Yeah,
Go ahead, sorry, Hank.
I was going to say the stat that I saw that was pretty telling was they haven't won a test in Australia since 2011. So they've lost 9 and drawn 1 in their last 10. That's not a good stat to be riding into Australia with.
No, I mean, I don't think they have the pace in their bowling attack to really cause the Australians trouble consistently, because you just need those on flat, firm pitches where you need people bowling 90 miles an hour plus. So like Jofra Archer missing is a big blow. And then on top of it, I don't think they have the consistency. You need to put up big scores at the same time. You do need, 350 all out is a subpar score on a lot of these pitches in the first innings. So you need to be putting up 500 runs just to kind of keep yourself in the game at times. And I think they just have too many question marks in their top order. And it's hard to see. They'll need Joe Root to be miraculous. And then they'll need someone from the top order to take a real step up, because you look at the opening partnership, real question marks there. And then the middle order, there's just a lot of players who are very hit or miss. And it will look good when one of them comes in and smashes 60 off 45 balls, but it won't look good when 3 of them come in and get out for 7, combined, playing dumb shots that aren't suited to the actual circumstances. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Still, it's weird that it's on BT Sport.
Really? I didn't see that, because I always used to think the Ashes was what they call it, the kind of crown jewels where it's always on BBC or something like that. But I guess Sky Sports kind of changed that, and now BT Sport have changed that. So, but yeah, I think the good thing about the Ashes, right, is that I always, even if England lose, there's something kind of emotive about it, and it's very kind of good cricket. It can be very captivating in terms of the things that happen, how close it can be. I think at least England having Stokes and having a pretty competitive time of it, taking a good amount of the T20 players, but also having kind of a better run of it, kind of test-wise against India, especially. I definitely think will help them, but yeah, the odds are never in England's favour for the last decade.
I think they'll get smashed.
I think they might have a couple of a draw or two, but I don't see them winning a test. So I think if I was going to give like a correct score, I'd probably say Australia win it 3-0.
And you would classify that as
no. I mean competitive tests, as in like a draw. Maybe
okay.
maybe they pull out something.
This is a Sam positive spin of like, hey, I know we lost the Super Bowl 90-0, but you remember that one drive?
No. I think with Test cricket, especially in Australia, as you say, big scores. I think you can still be competitive and look good in a draw, right? I think I saw the kind of victory rates that England and Australia have. England down under is 33%. Australia is only 51%. So I know that's a good amount of difference, but it's still a lot of draws. So yeah, I think 3-0 Australia.
So a former guest, friend of the podcast, Dane, was doing some cricket-related content on Instagram at one moment.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was like, "What?"
He has a new segment now where he like takes YouTube videos and analyzes
with his
them
like
to
with
say
just his head on it,
like
where it's just his floating
yeah,
head. That
like
kind of
if it's possible, if it's like legit, if it's crazy, because he attacks a lot of the like social media fitness people who put up crazy videos of them doing things, and he just tears them apart and tells them that they're not impressive or not even real sometimes. So I don't know why he is getting after cricket though.
he wasn't getting. He was just looking at good cricket catches, and
Okay.
it was the same style of video. His floating head in front of the highlight, like very TikTok kind of style, which is maybe where he's originally putting it out. But I saw it on Instagram.
I mean, in
I
terms
thought
of
it was-
World Cup, I mean, in terms of amazing cricket catches, look no further than Bermuda, India, right? With the fridge. Remember that ball? When that huge
I think
guy
that's
took a
I think-
diving catch.
Yeah, I think that's more surprising.
Took a
than it
diving
was.
catch to
Yeah.
the great commentary of the fridge is open.
So what else has been going on? We usually rely on you, Frank, for a like non-sports related discussion, a new food. You know what I did have over the weekend? I had the McDonald's fish and chips.
Oh, pray tell.
Oh, how was it?
But okay, so not good. Yeah, taste wise,
Describe it to us.
everything not good, or
So I mean, it's obviously it's just the McDonald's fries, and then you have these little sort of chicken fish balls, basically fried fish balls, kind of like a fish nugget, basically. And they weren't particularly tasty. They actually were kind of tasteless, so it was a little bit just like you're eating like a substance. But no, I wouldn't.
hell of a review.
I wouldn't have it again.
I'm eating.
Yeah.
That's the review.
I can confirm I'm having to chew.
Yeah.
Was kind of how I felt throughout it. But I mean, not horrific, but like, it wasn't disgusting. If I'd been really, really hungry and that's all I'd had to eat, I had available to me, I could have, of course, eaten them. But it wasn't. I'm not ordering them again.
So, actually, Frank, so obviously I told you that the UK Wendy's have started to open up. So the problem is the queues have been so much when I've gone because of like the kind of, I guess, fascination with it. But guess who opened up last week in very close to where Wendy's opened up near where I live? We have a Popeyes.
Popeyes.
Yeah. So Popeyes have now opened up.
Oh,
So
you can have
I
the
am
chicken
going
sandwich.
to be, when I get a chance, I'm going to review them. I'm going to have, I understand, like, we spoke about, like, the Baconator. I don't know what Wendy's have, but I know Popeyes is obviously the chicken sandwich. So, yeah, I'll feedback once I've had the,
The only thing from Wendy's that you have to specifically get, I think, is a Frosty. And then everything else, just get whichever.
And then dip your fries in
Yeah,
it.
just get whichever burger you prefer, and it will be square.
Got it.
Be prepared to have your mind blown by a square burger.
On a round bun.
Oh my god.
All right. Yeah, but I mean, I saw some people eating it. It looked good, but tastes good. We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping that the chicken is better quality in the UK, right? Just because of the standards being different for chicken. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I had fast food for the first time in a long time this week. I had some In-N-Out burger.
wait, what? Bodily
I
speaking?
get that every few months.
I saw you gave your dog an.
No, that's what it's
I
called.
saw you gave your dog an In-N-Out burger for his birthday
I
cake.
was going to say happy birthday. That was a hell of a
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I saw that, and then I thought to myself, "Here's the same guy who complains that he's going to take his dog to the vet every couple of weeks, and he's
It's on
feeding
a
his dog
water
a
treadmill.
cheeseburger."
Comes off, eats a cheeseburger.
He could have a cheeseburger once a year. We asked for, you get like no salt burger and no condiments or anything. So it was literally just beef, a piece of cheese, and the bun. The bun, I guess, is
the
unhealthy
bun. The
part
bun
for
is the
dog.
thing that surprised me. I can get giving it like a beef patty.
Yeah.
That seems like a nice treat. But
Well, I didn't want to just get him a beef patty because we just put 2 fast food beef patties on a plate. It looks so disgusting. So I figured, what the hell? Let him have some carbs so make it look a little better.
I didn't. So you're talking about disgusting from the prospect of you being able to post it on Instagram, or are you implying that your dog is such a discerning eater that if you had just put 2 beef patties down on a plate, it would have turned its nose up and walked away and said, "What is this crap?"
No, he still would have loved it. But yeah, I think from the regards of trying to give him a nice little birthday dinner, just throwing 2 fast food patties on a plate would have been pretty unappealing to the Instagram eye.
I mean, you can buy those.
But I also
buy like a
partake
dog
with
cake.
it though.
You can buy those dog cakes.
Yeah, we usually do, but we just didn't plan ahead to get one. So instead, we figured we
didn't plan ahead, so we just got a chocolate cake,
something indulgent for dinner.
See how that went down.
We just got an ice cream cake. But no, pretty quiet. I haven't seen many interesting stories. I think with the holidays, everything just gets super holiday related, and you lose out on these nice, chicken war stories and things like that. Oh, I actually have one. I watched yesterday the first episode of I think it's called Harry Potter Tournament of Champions. It is a game show, I think is on TBS, that we kind of came in halfway, so I'm not completely sure, but it seems that all 4 of the houses from the show are represented by 3 people on stage and then about 50 in the crowd, and each house competes against each other to win this tournament of trivia based off of the books and movies of Harry Potter. Now, I've read every book and I've watched every movie several times. By the 3rd round of this show, I was just straight guessing. I mean, the things that these people knew, it's beyond what a human should know about a fictional movie and book. Like, I mean, it's not impressive. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always cautious because when it comes to sports or whatever, there would be a level of knowledge that I have that a Harry Potter fan would look at and say, that's really sad. So I guess I'm always cautious with that. But I mean, if you're going to go on a game show and it's going to be your specialist subject, I'm expecting you to get stuff that, I mean this with the utmost respect to your Harry Potter knowledge. But if you're getting it just as someone who's sort of casually read the books and watched the movies, then I'm not going to be super impressed with someone preparing for a quiz and knowing it.
Yeah. The crazy part was there was 2 teams. One did okay, got a few decently hard questions, but missed a few. The other team got every single question correct. So as hard as it was, they still weren't even able to stump them on a single question. So it just shows the level of knowledge. And it's really funny because, as you can imagine, these people they're nerdy. Nerds is an okay term now, right? So they are quite nerdy individuals, but they are loving the stage. I mean, they're like doing weird celebrations. They're trash talking the other team in the corniest trash talk possible. Like, it's interesting to watch. I'll probably watch the next one just to see some of the questions.
I mean,
but like Helen Mirren is hosting it, so I don't know. Is this just like, has she given up on life and has decided to host a Harry Potter trivia show, or is she a huge Harry Potter fan? That just seemed crazy to me, that Helen Mirren, a really respected actor, is just going to start doing Harry Potter trivia shows.
It's surprising. It seems like a huge get from their perspective, but at the same time, I could understand. You feel like a little bit of a sellout probably, but I bet you it's really, really good money and fundamentally no work. Like, I think a game show host must be the dream come true from just easy street.
All right, let me ask you this then. If you could host a game show, what kind would you host? Would you host more like the trivia type, like a Jeopardy, or would you do more the fun type, like a Newlywed Game?
I don't want the fun type because I think you just get mostly weirdos and you're just going to have a lot of awkward interactions. I think that takes a little bit of skill. Like, I think being like even something like Wheel of Fortune, where it's just such cycles going on. I think
oh, wow, you just went after Wheel of Fortune quickly. Contestants.
You know what I mean, though. There's the game shows where they kind of become the kind of people who are in it are in the the cult of that show.
Deal or No
That
Deal.
same
I was
Deal
going to
or
say.
No Deal. The people going on Deal or No Deal are into that game to a degree where interacting with them I would find it difficult. I would have to be in my mind when speaking to them, being like, just think of the paycheck that's coming after this episode. Smile, treat them like they're normal. That's. But I think my dream would be like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I think so easy. You basically just read people questions.
I could.
Congratulate them, talk them through the process. Like, why are you leaning that way? Oh, yeah. And who's this we're calling? Are they reliable? And then
I can imagine how insincere your small talk would sound, though. So where are you from? I don't care. You know what? I don't care. Let's just go to the question.
I mean, that's also because I've applied to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on multiple occasions. It's kind of my dream show to be on. And I think that it's the show I'd most want to be the participant on, and then also most want to be the host of.
Question. You've got the phone a friend. What category are you calling me? And what category are you calling Frank for?
See, here's the thing is I never know how many people you can list as your phone a friend. Because I'm having to list you two, or is this... Because I never know, because they actually now, I think they've upped their game, certainly in the UK. There is definitely someone physically with the phone a friend ensuring that they don't cheat.
That kind of figures, right?
Yeah, really?
So there's actually, there's someone... They now mention the fact that there is a kind of observer, what an awkward evening. Because you have no guarantee that the person you are the phone a friend for is even getting on the show. You just make small talk
with this observer for like 4 hours.
So, and then I don't even know, is that person being, because they don't really speak, is that person then like attending the studio? And so they're actually just all sitting in a room backstage and pretending that you're calling them at home, but in reality, they're just back there? Or is it, no, you're sitting at home, like watching the Champions League, waiting for the phone to ring with this guy who's turned up to make sure
you go to the bathroom and it rings, and the
phone never rings,
like,
and you go,
get in.
Yeah, exactly.
It reminds me, I heard for the Emmys when they had them during COVID, outside of every person who was not a contestant, like within the category, outside of their homes, they had a person in a hazmat suit with the Emmy trophy, like waiting to give it to them. But then if that person didn't win, they just kind of turned around and went back into their car and drove away. So it's this really weird thing where you just have this random person sitting outside your house in a hazmat suit, just holding a trophy that you may or may not get.
Yeah. But I mean, so that's the question, because I think that there are people, and obviously it depends. If I'm going on British Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'll put it, if I'm going on British Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I know I need a phone a friend for pop culture aspects that I'm just not good with. Like, that would be a big area. I think you can be pretty reliant on ask the audience for a lot of that. Like, who was killed in season 10 of EastEnders? That's a great ask the audience question. And I think people waste that on phoning a friend or 50-50s when it's like, just throw that out to these 100 people. I bet you 60 of them watch EastEnders and you'll be okay. But
now with that too, with the Ask the Audience, I want to know if this has changed too, because whenever you would watch the show, you would always think, when given the answers, one is incorrect, right? And the thing was always, can you say, if you don't know, just pick letter D? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, could you?
So that way, only
audience?
the people who, only the people who actually knew would give you an answer, and everyone else would just pick the incorrect one. So that way, you wouldn't get a skewed or inflated question from people who didn't know. I always thought that if you could actually do that.
It'd be interesting. I mean, here's the thing is, you could anyway, because it's always that thing, right, where the show gets cut down into people's trips are 10 minutes. They're sometimes sitting there for hours agonizing over questions. So A, maybe they're saying that. B, you also maybe make it really, really clear. I absolutely am 100% certain that it is not D. So you just, the risk is that you say, hey, I know it's not D. If you don't know what it is, put it as D. And it turns out it's D, and you've just skewed the answers the wrong way. So you're like, I guess nobody else knew. 100% of the audience has said D.
Sam, what kind of show would you host? Would you be in for one of the chattier ones?
Yeah, like where like they actually spend the first 15 minutes of it just like getting to know each contestant before. It's not the best one, but do you remember Strike It? What was it? Strike It Rich in the UK? Oh, okay. There used to be this
idea.
game where fundamentally you went like left to right across like a load of TV screens, and you hit the TV screen, and it was either like a prize or it was like an arrow to move forward. And the idea is you had to get left to right, kind of the first possible. But all they did was basically just talk and have a joke with all the contestants. I kind of think I'd be good at that, but I don't really know. I don't really watch quiz shows anymore.
What about like The Bachelorette?
Is that a quiz?
Would you be the
show?
host of The Bachelorette?
Or are we just talking about shows?
It's a game show of sorts. I consider it almost a game show.
That would be too awkward for me, The Bachelorette. And also, what does the host really do? They just kind of line people up and say, like, pick these guys, right?
Yeah. It tells them what they're supposed to be doing. Like, now you're going to eliminate 2 of the people. Now you're going to be deciding who you go on this date with. Let's take a look.
Yeah, like Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor would be
like
kind of
one
interesting.
Of
but I mean, again, you're straying away from game shows here. I mean, here's the thing: is if there's anyone out there listening who's been considering me for hosting anything, I'll do it for the right amount of money. I'm doing anything.
You could just cut the last bit of that out, right? You could just for the right amount of money, I'd do anything.
I'm doing anything. Oh, well, I'm already on record as that. I'm already said there's absolutely nothing within reason in this world. I'm not like murdering family members and stuff, but there's pretty much nothing I'm not doing, given that the money is right. But the money could be astronomical. We've had this bar. Go for it.
I was going to go back on subject. I didn't want to hear what you would do for money. I was done with that. I was trying to keep us on subject a little bit.
Well, no, we've just always had those we've always had those bar discussions, right? It's one we've regularly had of like, you ask people like, would you have your pinky chopped off for money? And there are people who are like, no, under no circumstances. It's like, I don't believe, given that it's done in a safe environment by like a doctor in a surgery, you're not chopping your pinky off for $1 trillion. That would be insane. That you value your trillion, your pinky at that
much. You then allowed to ask that doctor to reattach it immediately?
Okay. To reattach it, no. And you can't have like a fake.
Well, you can't have a prosthetic. So you have to. You can't have like
a
fake. That's a shame. Okay.
No, you're living without that for the rest of your life.
Can it be on the opposite to your dominant hand? You can choose the pinky.
You get to choose. This is an entirely hypothetical game that will never come into reality, and you get to choose the rules and the parameters.
Well, only some of the rules, because you just told us the doctor can't re-put it back on.
Sure. Because that would be silly. Hey, well, I'll give you $1 billion to cut your pinky off and then have it instantly reattached. So it will maybe not be.
How much money would you take for that?
Yeah. I mean, anyway.
And then to immediately have it reattached.
For a pinky?
Is it the whole pinky?
Oh, yeah. It's like
all the way
a
to the bottom?
surgical, full-on, like guillotine down. Yeah. It's very clean.
Well, give me your price.
Like you hold your hand up and you've only got 4 fingers. No. It's completely gone.
Yeah.
That would just look weird.
Well, it would be 20% less fingers.
I've met people without their pinkies.
I don't know why you're looking at it like it's surprising. Like you know what it would look like.
I want to know what it would look like from my perspective.
What about 10,000 euros, Eddie?
So this is to have my
Yes.
pinky chopped off and
Instantly.
then
Like-
reattached? No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing that because you're never going to have it. Even if you're having it reattached, you're not going to have full use of that finger. There's still going to be some long-term effect of having had your finger chopped off. So
Does $50K do it?
No, 10,000. 50 makes me think about
50,000
it. I think
pounds.
100 is
Oh,
probably...
okay. I mean, the
Oh,
pound is
sorry.
strong
Oh,
right now,
yes.
Eddie. So
Yeah, so 60,000 euros. I mean, no, I think 100,000 probably is the. I think for a lot of things, 100,000 is kind of the starting point for me as to when, if that money was really put down on the table, it would be difficult for me to think this is a down payment on a pretty big house, but I'm not willing to have my little toe chopped off.
All right, I've got a good one. I want to up this ante. How much would it take for you to chop Sam's pinky off?
yeah.
And here's the stipulation.
I'll pay
here's
you.
The stipulation.
I'll pay you.
You guys can split the money however you want, but you can't tell him or talk to him about it beforehand. So you kind of have to know that he'd be okay with it for a certain price point.
Wait,
or you could give two shits about Sam.
Sorry,
or you could just not care.
I mean, there's too many questions
Hold
here.
on. Hold on. So you're saying I just grab, we're like out of the bar, I grab his hand and just whip out like a butcher's knife and just slam it down on his pinky, and then him just screaming in horrific pain.
Yeah, we're
I go,
splitting
"Don't
the
worry,
money."
Sam, you're getting 10 euros.
With a little more control. Like he would get subdued and we would lay out the hand and you would just come in without saying he has no idea what's going on. And
Why
you
have
just
I
chop
now
it
just
off.
gone into an episode of like Hostel?
This is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot darker. This is a lot darker than the usual questions. I would say 100,000 each.
So you want 200,000.
Do I get
'cause I
consulted
think-
in this?
And you would split it with him.
Why
think
does
if I-
Eddie get? Why does
No, that's
Eddie
the
get
thing.
money for doing
yeah,
this?
No, he does not get to consult you.
Why does he have so much control?
But he's allowed to give you whatever he wants after.
Oh, is this the new game show we invent? Like, it's kind of like the wedding game where the people have to have the same right answer
Yeah,
in order to
kind
win a
of.
point. In this,
You chop his hand off and like, don't worry, Sam, I got you 20,000. He's like, oh, I wouldn't have done it for 20. Well,
it's
going to
be
now
like
you
the
get
golden
nothing.
balls split or steal. It's like
obviously, the reality of with losing limbs, no, but it would be interesting to see that same premise, but from like a dare, like doing something like a Fear Factor style.
Yeah.
But you're having to pick, like, how much will I need to get paid to drink donkey semen?
I went right to that one real quick. Had that one on the mind, Eddie.
Well, Joe Rogan always speaks about the fact that was the thing that basically got them canceled when they started making people. They had to drink like a pint of donkey semen each, and that was like the moment that the show got canceled for. Even though they made people do more dangerous things before that, like that's just pure. It's gross. There's no kind of long term impact of it. But that was the moment when the network was like, we can't air people drinking, like just chugging.
Semen chugging.
Like,
Now, Sam, let me
just
ask you.
No.
If you did get your finger chopped off by Eddie and he gave you 100,000, would you have been okay with it?
No.
Oh, see? Friendship over.
What, the cutting? Yeah, because he was like, I can't believe you didn't
I think
do
you're
that,
wrong.
Sam.
I think you're wrong. You're pink.
Wow, this is what a power play here. Like, you're wrong. You won't take 100K for me chopping off your finger. I don't get why Eddie gets money from this, though.
Because that's part of the game. It's a sick game, Sam.
Eddie benefits in all ways.
Because Eddie
because
also
it's an interesting premise.
Eddie also has to go under the assumption that he's your friends and he doesn't want to like ruin the friendship. Like you're someone who you trust Eddie. So there's a lot at stake for him being like, if I do this and he's not okay with it, I've fucked up this guy's life that I care about. So it's got like an emotional element to it.
And also, it just works on the same premise of if you said how much money would it take? You've got to chop Sam's pinky off. How much money would Sam want? Because there's then nothing in it for me. I would say I'm not chopping Sam's pinky off, so no amount of money. But once you throw in, but you get the same amount, then not only do I make the calculation of how happy will you be doing it, I then have to make the calculation of at what sum do I feel comfortable chopping off part of your body. I think it's a great game show. I think we might have to go to like North Korea to do it, but I think we could get it made. I mean, maybe we just do it.
Last question for this.
Oh,
gosh. Say this plays out, Eddie, how nervous are you with the chop? Like, what's your mindset going in? So Sam has no idea what's happening. You guys are just, let's say you're out to the bar. All of a sudden, 5 people come in. They kind of subdue him, hold him, put his hand down. They hand you the hatchet. They say, cut it now. And you have like 3 seconds. What's going through your head?
I think I know the plan.
Are you nervous, anxious, excited?
Okay, hopefully not the latter.
I'm excited. I go Tim Payne on him. Ooh, I have something firm to pull on right now. How many drinks have I had?
Enough. Oh, 4.
Okay.
2.
Ooh, I prefer 4.
2 to 4.
I think 4 would be like the sweet spot of calming the nerves and then still not impeding my ability to do it. How confident am I? Is his hand just like a limp hand just being held out, or are they using some kind of tie to kind of separate the
flat
finger?
Down like that on the table.
It's flat down.
I can't move it. So I guess the theory here is: do you go like high up with the chop and maybe miss the angle, or do you kind of like put it down and then push all your weight, knowing that it's in place?
Or do I go?
Wait, and
can he feel pain?
Yes.
Can he feel pain?
Before you answer that, he is completely coherent and awake.
But
He's not been anesthetized.
But do I get?
He's looking.
Wait,
right
don't I
at
get like
you.
at least an
He's
anesthetic
staring
wipe?
at you.
Don't I get like at least an anesthetic wipe?
No. Nope.
This is disgusting now.
He's staring at you. Sam has no idea. He's crying as he's looking at you, saying, "What the hell is going on?"
Whatever you're gonna do,
you've been handed the hatchet.
Whatever you're gonna do, don't do it. So I am begging and pleading as well.
So I ask for a blindfold for myself, so that I don't have to look at him, and then I just take a swing.
Just lob off like half my face.
Yeah. I mean, how confident am I could just knock a finger off? I guess pretty confident. I guess the thing... Yeah, I guess I'd be pretty confident. I mean, the thing is, you got to go with a bit of force, right? Because you're getting through the bone.
No, the way you have to do it is you have to get a really, really sharp blade, put it on, and then push down with all of your force. You can't swing. Yeah.
Okay, well... That's a little disturbing that you're sharing that information. Oh, no. You guys, that is not the technique for chopping off someone's finger.
I cut off Mouse's legs all the time.
I like this game show. You know who would like this game show? Tim would love this game show.
I mean, look, based on the success of Squid Game, it's probably not a realistic game show. Could it be an interesting TV show about a fake game show that people would then spend time debating? I mean, that's the thing about Squid Game, right? You can't imagine it actually existing, but you ask yourself, how much money would it take?
What would I do
for me to risk my death, but to win a lot of money? And then, you'd have the same. This is like a slightly tamer version. This is Squid Game meets Hostel. This is how we pitch it to Netflix. And
we call it Pinky Promise.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
That's not bad.
Oh, that is good.
Also great because similar to Squid Game, unless you get the hype early on, people go into watching it having no idea what it's about. Like that gives away nothing. Could be a rom-com about a couple of teenagers falling in love over their summer break. Nope, it's about friends chopping off limbs for money.
It doesn't always have to be chopping off limbs. That's just one.
Hold him down whilst I swing with this hatchet, and then you just got Frank in the corner. So what you got to do is put it on the pinky.
Can I? Yeah. Is it like Who Wants to Be? Can I phone a friend on this one for best technique, please?
Yeah.
Butcher down the road.
So aside from chopping off limbs, what are the other thoughts about the challenges, Frank?
I mean, I'd have to think, but some of them could probably be social media based. like you post something really embarrassing on their social media, like their phone gets taken away and you have to post their most intimate photo or something like that.
So that you could do in real life. That's a game show you could do in like how much do you think, like if I take Sam's phone and how much to send like one of Sam's dick pics to his parents, like how much money do I think he needs in order for him to, you could conceivably.
I mean, there's levels, right? I mean, the chopping of the pinky, that's going to be a high level challenge. That's not an entry level challenge.
That'll be like the flagship. What about something like someone is 100 yards away from you, you've got a pistol, and you've got 5. You essentially have 5 blind shots. And you have 5 blind shots. You're blindfolded, and you just have 5 random shots.
Wait, am I trying to kill them or not?
No. You are just shooting in a direction. They have just said shoot in that direction. You're blindfolded. They're stood 100 yards away, and
so
you've just got 5 shots. You could die.
That's that's aggressive.
You could also bleed out from your pinky, right?
But I don't understand. In this premise, say they blindfold me, they take me 100 yards away, and they say, you've got 5 shots, Sam is 100 yards. Why wouldn't I just shoot 5 shots in the air if I don't want to?
Because you might come right back on yourself. Ooh.
Well, no, but not that high.
Well, like 10 minutes later.
30 degrees.
I don't know. Maybe there's a way of restricting your aim. So you can't move your arm around as much.
Oh, so it's just a locked-in headshot.
No, it's first one. Oh no!
Oh my god! It's just. I don't think we thought this premise through properly.
No, I've got a decent idea. Sam's just trying to kill people and put it on a game show.
I mean, Sam has basically gone Squid Game.
Yeah,
you've gone a new for season 2 of Squid Game, which is obviously going to happen, right? Because they set it up for.
I haven't finished it.
Character. So. Oh,
but okay.
Sorry, spoiler alert. I mean, saying it's set up for season 2 is not. Fine. It's not really ruining anything.
All right. So on that note, I think we should hop off here and start emailing Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although we've given the game away, right? This episode gets published. Someone else can pitch the show. Yeah.
Patent pending.
I'll just bleep out the entire.
Yeah. Patent pending. Copyright. Yeah.
Yeah. If you steal this episode, we'll hunt you down and chop some fingers off,
and not give you the money.
Wow, that would be the premise of the game, right? Someone tried to steal your game show. You then capture them or kidnap them and make the game show they tried to steal.
Seems very specific, but sure.
We've got a plot.
Sam, I think we've got a decent idea. Stop trying to derail our idea. All right, I'll talk to you boys later.
Coming.